Hi everybody, welcome to another special edition at Learnable Math, and we're still continuing with trigonometry. Let's go and explore this quite interesting question, guys. If you're new to the channel, please make sure that you're subscribed, turn on that notification bell so that you can be notified every time when we upload a new session. Okay, without wasting any time, let's get straight to it. Okay, so the question says, what is the smallest value of the expression below? All right, we are given 1 divided by root 13 sine x minus 30 plus 20. Okay, what would be the smallest value of the expression below? Okay, remember guys, in a fraction, for a fraction to give us a smallest answer, we must be dividing by the biggest value. Okay, it means, in other words, reversely, they're indirectly asking us what is the maximum value of this denominator, which is your sine function, which is root 13 sine x minus 30 plus 20. Because if we get the maximum value of this denominator, which is a sine function, if we divide by the biggest value, we're going to have the what? The smallest value of this fraction. Okay, so that's the idea really. So we're just concerned with how can we find the maximum value of this expression, root 13, the sine of x minus 30 plus 20. How do we get that maximum value? That's our question. Okay, because once we know the maximum value of the function, we just go and substitute. That will give us the smallest value. Okay, that is it. How do we get the maximum value of any trigonometric function? I'm gonna also show you how you get the minimum value of any trigonometric function. There's a formula you have to use, right? Remember, the maximum value of a trigonometric function and the minimum value of a trigonometric function is determined by two things. That is your amplitude and also your vertical shift. Okay, these two things affect your maximum and minimum value. For example, if you have a function like the sine of x, y equals to sine x, right? We know it tends at 1, the minimum is minus 1. From this function, you can deduce that the amplitude is 1. We do know that the half distance from the maximum to minimum, obviously it's going to be 1, right? Or from rest to top crest, or from this one to the bottom, it's 1, right? So that is your amplitude. And your value of q here, your graph hasn't been shifted anyhow. It's just your normal sign. So q is equals to 0. Okay. So obviously in this function, you know that the maximum value will be what? Will be 1. But the minimum value will be what? Will be negative 1. But how do we now use a and q to get the maximum and minimum value? Do you have to sketch the graph? No. We can use, there's a relationship between a and q. That's the one that forms the maximum value and the minimum value. So here's the formula, guys. For maximum value, you just take your amplitude and you add with your vertical shift, because the amplitude is gonna stretch the graph vertically, and this shift now will now be moving that graph up and down. Okay, so for us to get the maximum value on any trigonometric function, you just take amplitude, you add it with what? With your q. Be careful, amplitude here, we are taking the positive value. So even if you have y equals to minus sine x, amplitude it's 1. Negative is just showing you the graph has been reflected, right, in the x-axis in that case. So you take the amplitude, the positive value of the amplitude, add it with q, you'll get the maximum value. So for the minimum value, you take the negative value of the amplitude plus q, right? It's like at this part here, you know, if we want the minimum value, we know the minimum value is what? -1. How can I get -1? I say minimum value, it's the negative of the amplitude, which is 1 plus q. This graph has a q of 0, so the answer will be -1, and you can see -1 there is the minimum value in any trigonometric function. You don't have to stress about drawing and all that. You can just connect your amplitude with q. A plus q giving your maximum value minus a plus q giving you your minimum value in any trigonometric function. Okay, so with this understanding, we can now come and solve this question. It's now very simple, right? Hence you get this question with WOMA 3 marks. They don't want you to sketch and all that. They want you to get an understanding of the relationship between your amplitude and your vertical shift. Okay, so in this function, I do know that the amplitude is root what? 13. Remember, the function notation is a sin of x minus p plus q. Okay, so we know that our a, which is the amplitude, is root 13. Our q, our shift, is what? It's 20. So the maximum value in this function will be root 13 plus 20. Okay, so the minimum value will be negative root 13 plus what? Plus 20. Okay, now we can go and solve the question. What is the smallest value of the expression below? We do know that for this fraction, for any fraction to result in the smallest value, we have to be dividing by the maximum value, right? That is, your denominator must be maximum. In other words, your denominator in this case must be root of 13 plus 20. So this will then result in the smallest value possible in that function. Okay, you can just use a calculator to write it as decimal. Okay, so the smallest value possible, it will be 0.04236. Okay, going forth like that. That will be the smallest value of that expression. I hope you find this helpful. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share. See you soon. Bye.